Hey guys, welcome back to Instructions for Humanity. We are picking up where we left off. I'm here talking to Doug. He is an international artist and he's also very, very big in the UFO community, which I didn't mention, but he's very, very intelligent. So we're going to continue on talking about how the past lives affect our current lives now. So Doug just got done asking me about, do we really pick our parents? Do we sit down with our council and map out a plan for our lives? So I just want to say that because I do talk a lot about the heaven matrix. You guys all know that, but guys, just as much as some of us are having an experience based off of being here against our will per se, this earth is still a school. There are still very real lessons that our soul needs to learn. So even though some of us are getting, you know, reincarnated that way, we still have a soul's journey that has to be completed. Whether you are completing that in this realm or a different realm and a different dimension, the work on the soul, it has to be done. So that's why I truly believe that we have to have some level of a plan when we come in here. We have to be born on a certain day. Like I said, I was born as a Cancer. If I wasn't born as a Cancer, being super in contact with my emotions, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be able to have this pure heart if my name wasn't Tahirah, which means purity. That is how I'm able to pick up on spirit and hear messages. That's how I'm able to use my imagination because I was born a creative type. So that's why I'm able to pick up on my past lives. So that way I set that up so that I could heal myself in this life, so that I could heal the scars on my soul, because that is what it's all about. It's not about, we're not here for money and accolades and titles and all of that. We are here to refine ourselves on a soul level, regardless of how you came in here, whether you came in here by accident or whether you came in here on purpose, like myself. The work still has to get done, guys. There's no way around it. We still have to refine our soul. So hopefully that answers your question, Doug.
Yeah, I think so. I think also, so of course, I want everyone to know I've never had an NDE, although I've had some experiences that we would consider to be paranormal, not every day. I had an out of body experience. I've had several visions. Um,
Mhm.
I've had UFO sightings in the daytime that I seem to always catch. So I've had some of these events and I've photographed them and everything. But uh, I've spoken to many NDE people because I've been interested in this topic now for over 2 years, and I've been watching so many of them.
Right.
And some, and I'm not saying that any one particular answer is correct, but some don't feel there's any work to do. Some feel you're all. One of my good friends who went through a very, very amazing NDE says her comment is breathe and don't resist. There is no wrong. You're not doing anything right or wrong.
Right.
You're experiencing, and everything you experience is part of what needs to be experienced, recorded, and sent back to the greater whole.
Greater whole.
And
Right.
so that was one thing I wanted to mention, and you could make a comment on the other end. The other thing I wanted to ask your opinion on is, why do you think only so many people have these kinds of experiences? It's obviously not the average person. I could go out into the street or through my life, ask people if they've had these kinds of experiences, and very few people will say, yeah. They'll say, no, I've never had anything like this. Why do some people get this and some people don't?
Okay, that's a very good question. Let me first answer the other question. What was the other question you asked me again right before that?
Yeah, it was just
Oh,
that.
about
Yeah, it was about like my friend Kelly would say, breathe and don't resist.
right.
Just live. There is no right or wrong, no matter how much you think it's right or wrong. It truly isn't. It's an experience. and we're all experiencing things. God loves everybody, and God welcomes everyone home, no different than a mother loves all 6 children in the playpen, even though one's beating the other one over the head with a shovel. Mom loves them all equally. They all have different personalities, but the mother loves them all like God loves us all.
Right. And so I truly believe that, you know, the whole thing is we're just little dots. We are all little microscopic pieces of source. This is how we've been doing this for eons of years, even way before these worlds were actually formed. So I had a channeling with source, and actually I spoke to the computer of the one divine mind, aka the one consciousness that we came from. And I was speaking with the feminine aspect of source, and she told me that this is called the lost worlds, which is aka the matrices. So we do come in here to be physical and somehow lose who we are, because
Yeah.
the truth about it is we have been one consciousness for so long that now the challenge of humanity is to be individual consciousness. So when that happened, we got sent out here to the lost worlds so that we can go ahead and experience ourselves as little miniature gods. But it's hard because it's like you have a whole body, but you separate and you just come as a fingernail, you know? And you're like, the rest of me, I can't function without the rest of me. You don't know how to do that yet, because the thing about it is, we were one, and then we were many. And then we learned how to be many, how to be individuals. And as we can see, what that has gotten us, we've gotten into wars, we've gotten into this race, this gender, that gender. We have learned how to be separate. Well, we have learned it. The 222 portal that came about in February was a call for us to come back together. It was our alarm clock that we set up. It was a call for the collective consciousness to come back together so that we can be one consciousness again. So I do agree that there is really nothing that you need to learn, because you already know everything when you are with source. But the problem is we have been individual consciousnesses for so long, gathering information, that a lot of us have forgotten how to be one, you know? And so I do believe that, but the thing is we've been out of practice on how to be one consciousness. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I just felt led that that's what I needed to say in order to kind of to answer that. And then just to segue into part 2, is that why are certain people having this experience and why are other people not having it? Well, I will say that to answer your question, quite simply, we are all having it. Whether you are conscious of it, whether you are passing it off as a coincidence, most people do. We're all having it. The truth about it is we all come into this life with a set number of things that we want to kind of experience or even to refine. So not that you need to refine anything, because like I said, you are already safe with source. You already know everything. However, myself, I came here to refine my soul. That is my mission. I'm clear about that, because, and I'm not saying that my soul is higher than anyone else's, but what I'm saying is we all do different tasks within the collective one consciousness. And in order for me to evolve and carry out those tasks that I know that I have in front of me, I must heal on a cellular level. The thing is, some people don't need to heal. Some people are very good at their lives they're living. They're very good at getting it right. I didn't get that right in that life, and it stayed with me. And thank God I'm able to have that memory to go inside and kind of clean things out, because although all the information, nothing is really good nor bad, you know, it is just an experience and information that we take back. But I truly believe that we can't ignore the level of the upgrade that we've all gotten energetically. Things are speeding up. Time has changed. Everything is faster now. So we are called higher now. So maybe we're not just called right now just to have the experience. Maybe we are called to not only have the experience, but filter out the experience. And that way it filters out the best information for source.
That's a great point. How do you feel about the line, we are born to find our way back to God?
Well, on a level, I mean, I believe that's true. Whatever your kind of vision of God is, it really is just the collective. It really is just the one consciousness, the
The
one
one,
love, the one,
the
the all,
oneness.
the
So,
one.
so it's sort of like this. It's sort of like, we're all thrown out in all these different directions, and we work our way back to the oneness. But the why do it in the first place? Because the oneness needed to experience separation. So we needed to experience separation. Obviously, if you went to school and you were given all the answers to the test
Right.
right up front, then there'd be no point to taking the test and graduating.
Right.
So it's really a fascinating thing. But yeah, we're thrown out into the world, and we feel alone, and we feel separated. But the other thing you raised, and you said getting it right. Okay, you said getting it right. It's like, what do we mean by getting it right? So I'll give you a little analogy. I'll make up a little short story.
Okay.
Person goes out into a car, he's drinking or she's drinking, they get into a car accident. They have to have a leg amputated. Now they have a leg amputated, and it's a disaster. Their entire life was going to be one thing, and now they have a leg amputated. They go into rehab, and they meet a male, a female, a mate, who fall in love with each other, and they join a basketball team of people in wheelchairs. And they live a happier life now with that seeming disaster than they ever were living in the first place with their two legs. So now they're actually blessed. We would look at the accident as a disaster, or something wrong, and yet it could be actually the biggest blessing. And this dovetails into something you and I were talking about earlier, which is be careful what you wish for, because you may get your dream love, your dream job, your dream career, and it becomes a torturous, burdensome thing.
Right.
And so you really don't know what better or worse is. So I just wanted to say that.
Right. And just to your point, that kind of brings me back to the conversation we were having the other day about manifesting. First, I do want to say about that scenario is that we perceive that it's bad because we feel that we are our body. We have so much connection to our body. But really, the body is, I always say this on my channel, the body is an enemy to thy soul. Because the soul wants to soar, the soul wants to be free, the soul is limitless, but the body has all of these limitations. So it's in constant conflict with your soul. So really, it's all about perception. Having that leg amputated, it will activate something else, something that was dormant within that soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're just here on a soul level. The body is, we put too much weight on this body. And, I just wanted to point that out. But going back to kind of segueing into manifesting, because if that in that scenario, that person is living a better life. Because the truth about it is, no matter what you think that you want, we've already set this up. It's already said and done. I speak about the dark to light matrix formula on my channel. And what that simply means is the way that this earth keeps its balance. There's 2/3 light things happening on the earth, and there's 1/3 dark things happening. If it's all dark, no one's going to want to come here. If it's all light, it's going to be boring. You might as well just stay in the afterlife. So that this brings a great balance. And this is how you're actually able to work on things. You have to, you have to have the highs and the lows, the light and the dark. It is a perfect ratio set up to give you the experience, because we're just actors. Seriously, it's just giving you the experience,
Yeah.
showing you to yourself, showing you that you are God, showing you different attributes of yourself that you don't like. If, like I said, if someone's showing up in your reality and you can't stand that person, there's an aspect of you that is them. So, so we do have to have good things happening and bad things happening in order to do this stage play, you know, that we're in. But that goes to your point that he's happier now because he doesn't have the leg. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but that leg was stopping him from his true soul essence, from accomplishing that in which he already was contracted to do on a soul level. Okay. So it goes to show you about, I was talking about manifesting the other day. How, yeah, I could sit here and I could manifest hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I could also lose it. If it's not what you are supposed to have for your journey, you will not get to keep it. And yes, that has happened to me, where I've manifested six figures, but it was not, see, things have to follow, like I said, a string of events. You can't just, I'm going to manifest, and tomorrow you wake up and you're like a movie star. You have all these talents. You can sing, you can dance, you can play basketball really well, and all of these things. That's unnatural. You're not going to keep that. If you manifest something in that way, trust and believe it did not come from source. Okay, but source doesn't give you handouts and give you accolades to get more material things. Okay, so that's what you can already tell if it's coming from something that is pretty much not of the light. Because if somebody gives you something like that, trust and believe they want something in return. Entities, there's entities out there. They might give certain things to you, but they want something in return. But I'll leave that part there. But I just say that to say that if you're going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly be a huge singer, it's because for the past 20 years, you had been studying music. You have been taking voice lessons. You have been struggling and striving. That is how you're going to get it. If you wake up tomorrow and you just magically have it, it didn't follow the string of events, the sequence of events. You're not going to get to keep it.
That's great points you've made. And, you have to realize, and I always have like a visual of everything, manifesting is like turning an oil tanker. It's not like turning a speedboat. You're moving a slow thing, because if manifesting was as easy as, oh, I wish I had this and I wish I had that, then you may wish that your neighbor's dead and you didn't mean it, all of a sudden they're dead. I mean, it's like you didn't really mean it. It's not going to happen like that.
Right,
You're manifesting, you have to put something into the universe to show that you're for real on what you're about. So
absolutely.
so like I'm working on my art and I'm working on my music all my life. And I'd like to see certain things happen with it. And I'm not even now sure anymore that my wishes for what my goals were 10 years ago aren't even the same anymore. In fact, most of the time, it doesn't even matter to me whether it ends up being the so-called success that I wanted it to be. A lot of what the success I wanted it to be was instilled in me through my dad, who's no longer with me. He was a beautiful man, but he only knew success by if you sold it. Like if you sold it and you made money, oh, you were successful. Now it could be the greatest painting in the world, but if you didn't sell it, it's no good.
Exactly.
So, and that was and so I think another facet that we all have to remember is we have a subconscious that a lot of times is pushing what we want so powerfully over our conscious that we don't realize that we're subverting our own wishes. We're keeping us down, almost like what you were just saying about what was the name? I'm sorry, I just blanked on the name.
Oh, my past life?
Yeah,
Teasley?
Teasley, but like Teasley, it's almost like your subconscious, your subconscious Teasley is
Right.
keeping you from the conscious person you are Tahirah now, from achieving what you want, but you don't realize how powerful that's running behind the system. So we
Exactly.
have all these things to deal with in life, and it's a lot of stuff. But I'm very happy to be in the question mark. I like living in the question rather than the answer. The question is a great place to be.
I love that, because in the question, there's possibilities, because you can ask the question so many different ways. One person can read the question and it can mean something totally different to than the next person who reads it. And you can also change it up with what, is it, is it a period at the end? Is it a question mark? Is it this or that? It's just, there's possibilities in the question. And I like that. And really, that's the imagination, possibilities.
Possibilities and creating
Yeah.
those possibilities. Well, maybe I could mention this now, but remember I told you that I had an amazing synchronicity yesterday?
Yeah. You told me that.
I'll briefly tell you what it was. You and I were talking about manifestation and manifesting. And remember, I was telling you about Neville Goddard, and I was telling you about this book called I Am.
Yes.
All of it was about how to go about manifesting things. So when we got done, I turned the TV on, and I just needed to zone out. And I was zooming through a bunch of rentable or free movies on Stars and and all the HBO and everything. And I came across a movie that was like the last movie I would think of renting. But I rented it anyway. I didn't rent it; it was free. But I said, "Oh, I never heard of this film. Let me see what it was." It was actually called. It's gonna sound weird. A Serial Killer's Guide to Life. So I got it. And I have to tell you, the script was exactly what you and I were talking about. It was exactly. It was like he was Neville Goddard. It was like he was you and I. And everything he wrote in the script was how to manifest this, how to manifest that. How did I find that film with no hint in the title at all?
Right. There's no hint at all.
No
It's
hint.
because we are creators. This whole thing is rolling out with your thoughts. That's the reality that's happening. It's based off of your thoughts. So since we were already talking about that, you were already in that state of mind, it just reflected it back to you.
I mean, it was like going through 100 films real quick and going like that and arbitrarily throwing a dart at a dartboard and hitting the name of that film that gave no indication of what it was about, and yet it was so accurately about what we were talking about, more than any other film I could ever look at.
Now you see how powerful our consciousness is.
Yeah.
And I just show you, like when I channel spirit, I'm not really channeling it. It's coming from the one consciousness that we all share, and I just use my imagination to kind of start the conversation, and then I start to get the information. So the one consciousness is always working. And to the other point, you were saying, how do people? Some people are having this experience, and some people are not. You see the differences. You said you're having a synchronicity. Somebody else would have watched that movie and be like, "Oh, this is weird. I was just talking about this," but they would just
You're right.
connect the pieces. So we're all spiritual beings. We're all having a spiritual experience. We're just stuck in these bodies, but we're all having it. Some people just don't understand that they are.
So on that note, let me ask you a couple of questions that I made note of. Do you believe that our angels and our guides we have guides, we have angels, and they're all around us. So all the NDE people say, we have angels and guides around us that they don't interfere, much like you have a fish tank at home, but you're not always putting your hand in and chasing the fish. You leave the tank alone. It's like it got its own integrity. Do you feel that angels and guides intervene? Do they help? Do they push things along? Do they massage our direction? Will they help if we ask or pray? How do you feel about that?
Very, very, very good question. So we do have angels and we do have guides. Now, it depends on how you're viewing it. For me, I'm a cosmonaut. I know that I came from the cosmos. So when people talk about angels and guides and things like that, sometimes people have a vision of being in heaven with the pearly gates and seeing their guides and their angels. Me, I vision it in other ways. I vision cosmic beings, almost like someone showing up in a UFO, talking to me and providing information to me. And, but we are still guided, regardless of however you envision it or whatever your soul experience is. We are guided. I have met two of my spirit guides. And funny thing is, one of my spirit guides is actually in this life with me, is my brother. But he's actually a spirit guide. And I think he came into this life with me. I'm going to be honest with you. If my brother Yusuf was not in this life with me, I probably would not be here, sitting here right now. He's helped me out. I mean, we've spent the past 20 years on the phone talking and working through emotions. I wouldn't be here. He's like my therapist and my spiritual therapist. I mean, he is my spirit guide. So I was doing an exercise where, you imagine white walls, white doors, white ceilings, white floors. I spoke about this on the Jeff Moore podcast. So I was doing that exercise and I was in this all white space, and all of a sudden I start to spin around in my mind's eye. I start to spin around and make these movements that are not regular movements that a human being's body can make. And that's how I knew I was now my spirit self. And right when that happened, two of my guides showed up, and their face was huge, showed up right in front of my face. One lady she was a Black woman, and she had like long dreads. I've never met her before. I'm assuming she's an ancestor. And then the other person that showed up was actually my brother Yusuf. And it really scared me. I pulled the covers up above my head. It just really took me on a loop. So I say that to say, yes, we do. And I've had that experience to know that we do have spirit guides. Okay. Now we can be in many different places all at the same time. So for those of you who are saying, well, how is he here and there? Guys, we're multidimensional. We are all living in different dimensions, acting out different scenarios, right? So I wish they would intervene. I could say I wish they would intervene a little more, but see, you are here to have the experience. If they were to intervene, it's okay. Think about it. You're a kid, right? You're riding your bike. It has the training wheels on it. Your dad takes the training wheels off and he holds along with you. Even though you don't have the training wheels anymore, it's giving you the confidence. You think you're riding, but your dad's holding on to the handlebars with you. But you really think you're riding. It's giving you the confidence to kind of ride the bike. Now, if your dad was to say, I took your training wheels off, however, I'm still going to hold you up. It doesn't matter. I'm here holding you up. Even if you don't pedal, I'm still going to hold you up and you're not going to fall down. The kid would never learn how to actually ride the bike.
And there'd be no point.
There would be no point to this life. Right. So they can give you nudges, just like when I got the past life memory that came through. I do believe that was a push from my angels and guides saying, I'm going to throw you a bone here because you've been trying to figure this out for the past 20 years. And I see all the effort that you've put in. So you have to give something to get something. It's because I gave something. That's how I got the information. It's been 20 years in the making trying to get this information.
I agree, Tahirah. When prior to my mom passing away, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago, whatever it was, my mom loved dragonflies. She always loved dragonflies, and she had a beautiful green dragonfly pin. Okay. And I was sitting outside the nursing home. She was not at a point where she was going to pass, but in the family, I had kind of the job of kind of mentoring her and taking care of her, buying properties, selling properties, doing this, doing that, moving her into the nursing home and so on. And I'm sitting outside, and this was the oddest thing. I'm sitting outside with a cup of coffee, and a green dragonfly flew in the cup, right in the coffee. And I was like, oh my God, what are you doing there? And I put my finger in, and it got out, and it was sitting on my finger, and it fluttered its wings, and it stayed there for a second.
That's her.
And it flew away. Of course it was her. You know, what is the chance of a dragonfly flying into my coffee?
Yeah.
But it did that. And so the funny thing is that you and I can say that, but and this is not to knock other people, but there are a lot of people that just don't connect things.
They don't.
They don't connect when a flock of birds take off after they've said something, or when this or that happens, or a dove lands next to you, or whatever. There's like all these little signals and synchronicities. And going back to what you said before, so many NDE people say all life is a stage. We are on a stage. We're all actors. You take the leading role this time. I'll take the leading role next time. The guy that's like sweeping up the floor is no different than the femme fatale. And like, the curtain's gonna come down.
Yeah.
We're all gonna go backstage, celebrate, and high five each other and play.
Get another script.
Yeah, and keep it going.
But the only thing this time is, this is my last lifetime, because I understand now that it is a play.
Yeah.
And that's why things are speeding up for me. That's why all my gifts are coming into fruition, into the forefront. Some of those other people who are not connecting the dots, they're not supposed to. They might still be in kindergarten, as we might be in graduate school. You know what I mean? So this is my last lifetime. I understand it's a stage play. I'm retiring.
Good point. You know what? That's a really good point. That's probably why I'm here too, why you're here. Not to say that I don't know. But that's one of the things that makes our earthly existence frustrating at the same time. Because like, all right, I'll give you an example. You're in, I remember when I was in 7th or 8th grade, and we were going to do a class trip. So we got 50 kids in the classroom, and 5 of us want to go to NASA, to the science center, right? But 45 of us want to go and see how cotton candy is made. And you're like, no, we want to go to the science center, but majority rules, and we're going to go see how cotton candy is made. We're going to learn nothing, and it's just sugar. It's like you've got the masses of people that have a certain thing, and then you've got this other side, and it's not a better or worse. It's not an ego thing. There is a simple reality that the majority kind of rules, and you have to work with that.
Right. Absolutely. And could you imagine if there was more people like us? We wouldn't be able to be in the game anymore, in the script, because we would all be like, 2/3 of us be like, yeah, this is a stage play. Let's just go ahead and end it short now.
Yeah.
It has to be more people who believe that it's real.
Yeah, Tahirah, a few questions. What would you say? Okay, give me your definition of love, because love is thrown around out there so often. Oh, we love each other. Oh, I love him. I love her. What do people mean by love? What do you feel love is?
Love is, I think love is like law, like the law of the universe. It's duty. It's not this like feeling of like, oh, butterflies, like I just love you. No, that's infatuation, or that is, wanting something. Love is without condition. It is the lawfulness of the universe. It is the love that source gives freely, which really is, in one of my videos when I did a channeling with source energy God, the one consciousness we all come from, I found that there's something higher than source. and it is the light that governs source.
Yeah.
So the light that governs source is the highest vibration. That is what love is. So love, and it's the law, it keeps the balance of the good, the bad, the masculine and the feminine of the multiverse. So love is the light that governs us all. It is righteous. It is balanced. That is what love is.
I think that's a great definition and answer. I really do. And it resonates with me a lot. It makes me laugh because it makes me realize I've never been in love with a woman in my life because because it's always conditional.
It is. And the funny thing is I will try to love someone in an unconditional way.
Yeah.
They won't get it.
No.
They won't get it. And it makes me look bad.
Well, that's the other thing, because if like I've done the same thing. If I'm like, see, romantic love is different than what we're talking about. We have
right.
Romantic love is desire, is infatuation, is yearning, is all this kind of human emotion stuff that's tied into something that feels really great. There's nothing wrong with it. But unconditional love is not as easy as people think. It's extremely rare. In fact, the only time I can think of unconditional love is like you have a dog and you step on the dog's foot. He's like, oh, but now he loves you the second after you stepped on his foot.
Right.
He loves you unconditional, you know?
No, I have to say the one person I know that can have unconditional love, it wouldn't even matter what you did to them. Even if you killed someone, their family member, even if you killed them, it is my mother. This woman was love, and that's where I get my heart from. And once again, I chose her because she gave me the unconditional love. So now I have the unconditional love. That's where I learned it from. This woman was the only person I've ever met.
Wow.
That you could do, so many people have done so many things to her. She's still gonna love you.
So that's an amazing thing. I've often said I had a beautiful mother, and and a very loving mother. And my father was a little bit icy cold to balance my mother, who was over.
My dad too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was a good thing, but you know, my mother could see no wrong with me. But that's one of the reasons why, and I think I told you the other day, I'm a single person. I have no need for a relationship. I feel complete. I'm 100% happy. To me, the greatest thing that a greatest night for me is to go out by myself, or to sit and eat dinner by myself, to be doing things by myself. Not that I'm not social, but I attribute a lot of it to that. My mom, I've always felt full of love. I felt full of love. Christmases, everything have been full. A lot of people haven't had that blessed upbringing, and it's been very hard on them.
It's true.
They've been abused and kicked around, and so they're seeking that fulfillment in other people. I'm not so much. It would be fine to share nice things with other people, but it's not the same. Do you know what I'm saying?
I totally agree, and my childhood was amazing. The holidays, my mother made everything magical, and I just assumed that everyone else had that. Like, okay, guys, I keep my Christmas tree up. It's not to the point where it does add a certain aesthetic, right? But see, my mother kept her Christmas tree up. She would take her Christmas tree down in like July, and we were like, Mom, you just keep it up. I mean, it's almost Christmas again, you know. But she loved togetherness, and to me the tree represents more. It's really a decoration, right? But it represents the roots, the how we're all connected, and that's another reason why I keep it up. A, to like honor her, she always did that, and B is we are all part of the divine tree. The roots that are intertwined, although you can't see it, the roots are in the ground, but these roots are all communicating with each other, and they're all, you know, loving each other and healing each other. That's really how we are on a soul level. But you won't be able to tell when we're in these bodies and our 3D sort of way we go about living, but we're all connected on a root level, on a soul level. So that's why the tree is here.
I would say probably close to my last question for you would be, because we could talk for 2 hours.
Right.
What would you like? What would you like to contribute to the world from here on in? What would you wish to be remembered for, or what's the takeaway that you wish someone would get from you? What would you like to complete in your life?
I wrote this some time ago. In my absence, may you know that I am love.
Hmm.
That's what I want people to remember. And I'm struggling right now because there's a lot of people that are in my life who don't understand me, because obviously there's not very many people like us, but they probably will never get to see that of me, that I am love, because they're too busy looking at, well, this person is completely different than me.
Mm,
But what I want people, I just want them to know that I am love.
mm.
And in return, if I am love and I am a reflection of you, if I'm showing up in your reality, I'm a reflection of you, that means that you are love. Going back to the light that governs source, it is the highest vibration. It is love. I just want people to know that I'm love. I would like to do many projects to display that. Of course, books, and even maybe, acting, and, some sort of documentaries and things like that. And even um, art exhibits. It doesn't matter. I'm a creative type. I want to express in many different ways that I am love, and you are love, and we are all love.
I agree. I think that's what's behind all the artworks that I've done, all the series of paintings that I've done. The burn survivors grew out of the idea of saying we're all fragile, and that right now we're in these bodies, and in a split second we could be in terrible situations, but our spirit self is still the same being.
Right.
So I think it was Muhammad Ali that said, "I see you. I see you." A very simple but powerful thing,
Yeah.
because I carry this out in the world. Everyone. I don't care if you're in the street. I don't care if you're the owner of the restaurant, the waiter of the restaurant, bringing the food in, taking the garbage out. I see you.
I see you.
I see you.
And
Very,
that's here. I see this. I see your soul essence, your heart.
I
I,
include you in my thoughts. I include you in the existence of all of us. We're all in this together, not just the winners, the so-called winners. We're not just.
right. Right.
So that's my take on it.
Absolutely. I like that. It's really just the simple things.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think for now we can just leave it right there. But if you want to go ahead, and I don't know if you want to leave your email or something, or if you want to go ahead and promote anything that you're doing, or go ahead and leave your contact information, just feel
Oh,
free.
sure. Well, I'd like to tell people that my name is Doug Auld, DOUGAULD. And so my artwork can be found at dougauld.com, and my series of burn survivors, 100 paintings of whistleblowers, synchronous images of fish and birds making portraits of people. All my work usually says about the oneness of us, that everything crosses and connects. We're molecular, or atomic, and spiritual. And then I just finished a Broadway style musical. It took me 7 years of time, and that is it's yet to come out, and I'm looking for the theater industry to take interest in it. It's called Hypnota. It's HYPNOTTA, hypnota.com.
Awesome. Is
And
there
my
anything else?
and my email is doug@dougauld.com. Very simple. My name, Doug, at dougauld.com. I feel anybody wants to write me and chat and say anything, I'd be happy to hear from them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. And I just want to leave this, with everyone. If anyone wants to, have consultation with me as a spiritual advisor, go ahead and email me instructions for the number 4 humanity at gmail.com. It's always going to be in the description as well, my email address. But this is so important. These conversations, it changes you on a cellular level. It's not just this person that you're healing. You're healing the collection of your soul. It could be 50,000 lifetimes. You know, this is why we are here. If you want to finally get off the earth school, you have to awaken to the fact that you are a creator God, and that you are enough, and that you are love. And sometimes we do have to work through certain issues. And so many people have emailed me. I've been able to help them with actually some of their past life memories as well. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of that on my channel. I have so many different, recordings of past life memories that I was able to bring up for other people, and it has really helped them a lot. So just go ahead and reach out to me, and just see what I can do, and we can continue to do this work, because as we heal our soul, we're healing the collective soul, because we're all just one huge ball of consciousness. We're all connected, guys. So I just want to leave it right there for today. But I want to tell you guys that I love you, the birds, the bees, and of course, all of the trees. They all love you too. Love is the way. Forgiveness is the key. And truth is absolutely the light that guides us home. Be well, guys. I love you. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.